Okay, let's get started a little early then. I see there's a couple people here. Okay, so on Saturday we were working through the vectors, and we got a vector running with our Twitch viewer class, which I created to track users and their points within the program. We also got a file reader going. We're using more of the settings now. We got a file reader going to initialize the viewers from previous. Oh, what am I doing? Hello, everybody. First of all, I'm getting ahead of myself. Thank you for joining us. This is Clutter of Cats. I am Dagenham, or Dagenham Lol is my Twitch name. Signa is here. She's off screen. She doesn't really get into the programming thing. She's watching though with the rest of us. And hello, Rectangular Tim. Good to see you. So, this is a Java Twitch bot that I am programming. It's meant to be a loyalty bot, and it'll allow you to do things like raffles and giveaways using points. It'll also have some other functionality depending on what's needed or asked for. I've got some people that might be interested in it. We get this a little closer to done, and I'll take any suggestions. If any of you want to use it and you have any functionality you'd like to see in it, let me know, and we can work on that too. As it stands, the bot currently is capable of connecting to a channel using settings from a file, and it's capable of responding to messages that people send, although it's not very intelligent yet. It doesn't actually track points, but we're getting close to that. That's part of what we're going to work on tonight. And it doesn't respond with the proper points for the person, and that's coming up too. That's something that I'll probably work on as a little side project. Tonight, though, to go back to what I started with that I shouldn't have, is I want to work on threading. The reason I want to work on threading is that I don't want this bot to be spamming the channel every second, because it can't, to put it simply. Twitch has checks in place to make sure that you don't have a bot that's just spamming, and otherwise people would create them that send messages every second or 10,000 times a second, and they don't have the ability to process, or they don't want to process it. Either way, it's fine. So what I want to do is, let me show you the section here on message. Instead of sending the message like it has here, every time somebody requests points, it'll put you into a queue. And then every 5 or 10 seconds, that queue will display, and it'll show everybody in the queue, tell them how many points they have. Now, one of the things that we might end up having to look at too is limiting how big the queue can get. That's something that I'll end up testing actually. What I'm hopefully going to be able to do is talk to some of the bigger streamers and get their permission to either use this for a giveaway in their channel that I am effectively hosting, or do not even do a fake giveaway, but do just read through their chat and see if the bot can handle it. So we're not there yet. I haven't contacted anybody on that. I'm not sure. I need to find a good one to do that with, because some of them have their own custom bots, and I don't want to step on toes. That's not the way I want to do this. But I will send out requests once we get closer, or I don't think anything would be wrong with it. I think the worst thing that would happen is my bot gets banned, in all honesty, which is fine for 8 hours. That's what they do when you send too many messages. So, get back to the point. When you're added to the queue here, or what will be here, the thread that I'm creating will run once every 5 to 10 seconds, which might be an option throttle. I'll probably start it at 10. And then every 10 seconds, anybody that's typed in exclamation point points, or gold, or whatever the name of your points is, every 10 seconds it'll go through and read out the points of everybody that did it. So we need to create a queue of users that need their points printed out. And there might need to be another queue too, which is another thing that I'm kind of turning around in my head in terms of how to do this, because I want this to be as dynamic as possible. The more you hard code things, the less flexibility your program has later on, and then you will often find that you need to go back and rewrite it anyway. So this is where it's going to go. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a test class in order to actually do some testing and make sure I can get this to work. I did have a note from Rectangular Tim. You stream at very un-European times. I need to sleep by. I am very sorry, Rectangular Tim. This is really the only time I can stream during the week. I do make sure to record all of these, so if you do want to watch them, they're in our past broadcasts for 2 weeks, and then we upload them to the YouTube. We upload them to YouTube. So if you do still want to watch, which I would really appreciate, obviously, anything that helps out viewership in this stream, but yeah, you don't have to miss anything, because I do step through all this, and I'm doing my best to save all these videos. So anyway, have a good night, and I hope to see you again, but I can't really stream earlier. I'm sorry. This isn't my full-time job, and I have a full-time job, which keeps me from doing this all day. So we're going to create a test class, and I found a time tester. I found... Oh, right. There it is. Oop. Here. Black screen. Hello, Elite Unit. Good to see you again. Okay, so this is going to be our time tester, and this is where we're going to build the thread. Mostly so far we've just discussed, what I'm doing tonight, which is I'm going to start working on threads to read through a queue of users to make sure that the bot isn't sending too many messages. Because you can't send more than one message every 5 seconds. So I'm going to have a thread that runs probably every 10 seconds, and that will be the main source of actually sending messages to the channel. All right, now I did do a little bit of homework for get some of this stuff up. Oh, phone call, 1 second. All right, sorry for that. We have a cat at the vet right now, one of our clutter, Orchid, and we took her to the vet last week, and 2 of her levels were abnormally high. So they wanted to do a second test just to make sure, and it turns out she is fine. So Signa's going to go pick her up while I continue. That is a load off of our chests, because we were getting a little worried about her. Yeah, she's been at the vet all day because they've been observing her. So anyway, that's what the phone call was for. Sorry for muting it for so long, but I wanted to make sure that the phone call was over. Okay, so to get back to this, the point for this thing here is to create a thread, which is actually way easier than I remembered. and then to create a scheduling task. I think this one doesn't look right. I looked up a bunch of this morning. I don't remember which one it was that I finally found. I think it's this one. These are the 3 pages I saved, at least. Public class timer. Okay, so these functions here, there's a bunch of them, allow you to schedule a task which then will run every X seconds or minutes or whatever you needed to do. So, the example. Even on this page? Might need to refine my example. I don't know if I say. Yeah, this is specific to threads, which is all very useful. Not at the moment, but it is. This wasn't even threads. This was an example of timer task. All right, so I might have to look up an example, but you can schedule. What you do is you define a task. A task is just going to be, let me actually pull this up. Task is an object that implements runnable. Give an example. Java timer schedule example. Let's just do this the hard way. Okay, so here's the task that it's going to run. Here's the delay before it runs. And then here's how long in between the next time it runs. So the example they give here is they have this, here's public static new timer schedule period. Task new equal that time. That schedule new. Schedule period? What the heck? Public void run. Weird. Package. I think that's just the name of the package. Doesn't look right to me. I'll be able to undo that if that. Not. Oh, whoops. Yeah, what the heck is that? Timer schedule period. Is the usage of Java. So this must be declared somewhere else. All right, I'm gonna do that. All right. Anyway, need a public static void main string args. Let me just that. Curly brace, curly brace. Dead Steam, thank you for following. Is that a zombie again? Well, anyway, did that show up? I hope it did. Forgot to check my stream, but thank you for following. Let me actually do a test follow so I can actually see whether or not that's displaying. I didn't start up my follower alert before I started my stream, and I haven't checked it. We'll take a look and see if a random assortment of letters and numbers shows up, and that will tell us whether or not it's functioning. Okay, so Derailed. Okay, so this is where you declare your timer task, and that's the task that you're giving it to run. In this case, it looks like every tenth of a second, because this is in milliseconds. Yeah, so 1,000 there would be once a second. This is every tenth of a second. And so this is saying wait a tenth of a second, and then every tenth of a second, it might wait again, and then run it again. So it'll chop it up. This is this run thing, and that's what's actually displaying. I think that's what it is. I think this shouldn't be timer schedule period. I think that should be. Let me try this again. Except instead of timer schedule period, let me change it to that. Oh, because it needs to extends runnable, I think it is. Probably only one N in that. No? I think I had all of this in here. It's just it's just aligning everything. Runnable. Okay, it is two N's. It's runnable. No interface expect. Public abstract time. Extends object implements runnable. Timer demo. I don't have a constructor. This is only part of the code that I need. I kind of suspect. Oh, it was cut up. Positive as to what's like it grabbed it at a specific. Let me just take a look real quick. Big apply switch. Okay. More or less right. All right, that should show up now. Yeah, this code isn't. This code's close, but it's not quite right. Not gonna do for me anymore. Ooh, gosh. I think I held down Control Z a little too much. Yeah, whatever happened to my request for it? Oh, something is not working. All right, let me close out of this real quick. BlueJ is having problems. I'm not sure why. End task on that. Come on, there it goes. All right. Probably something interfering with it. Got that back up. Oh, no. All right. Didn't save my positioning. It's fantastic. Okay. Let's reboot this. Let's remove it. Move it. New class timer. Or timing test. Might have even been the file name was wrong. I don't know. All right. Public static void main string args. All right. Okay. Let me. It's so weird. Man, everything's broken today. I don't know what's going on. All right. Okay. So here's timer schedule example. Okay. This example is odd in that it doesn't seem complete. So let me. Oh, it didn't show up. Yeah, there it goes. Okay. All right, there we go. We got followers now. Okay. Me getting extremely distracted. I don't know why it's not saving my selected. Oh, I probably never clicked save. That's why. I'm good at computers. Okay. The example I saw. Man, I feel so bad forcing everybody to watch this. Topics. One of these. It should be one of these. Ah, okay, this was it. This is why I wanted to save this one. Okay. So, reminder, yeah. So this guy created a class, reminder beep. Here's the constructor. In the constructor, it schedules a remind task, which is here. You put a class inside the class. So this is what I wanted to look at. I just wanted to do it a little differently, and I wanted to change this so that it's using, so it's repeating. That's the whole point of this, is that I needed to repeat. So let's do something similar to this, though. Let's start off with a meow. About to just starting scheduled task. Let's chuck that. Oh, yeah, I'll leave that. Let's get rid of that, though. It's in the way. And that's in the way. We know that's a constructor at this point. All right, starting scheduled task. Then, oh, I need timer and timer task. I don't need the toolkit because he's using the toolkit to make the beep noise, which is unnecessary for what I'm doing. I just wanted to print some stuff out. Get my chat. I enjoy watching bug fixes. That's good because it's actually people that just sit down and rail out code. That's great for them, but the biggest thing you can learn about programming, or really about anything, is how to problem solve. And when someone's really good, they don't have to do much problem solving, whereas I'm really bad at Java still, so I am doing a ton of problem solving. So I'm hoping that's helping everybody else. I'm showing you more or less my entire process behind this. I did obviously do a little bit of research on it ahead of time. That's to try and limit how long it takes me to solve these things. Meow, meow, meow. Hey, Ford. You want to come over here? Come on. No? All right, fair enough. You win. If he keeps meowing, I'll drag him over here and show him off a little bit until he starts really squirming. So, okay. Here's this. Class extends timer. Okay, so this is what I need. I need that. And then I can rename it. Instead of remind task, I'm just going to do, I'm going to call it print stuff, yes. Anything else on that to it? And then this is just going to do a simple system.out. It's just going to do that, which should be fine. Oh, I need this. That's right. any task that you pass to the scheduling system needs to contain a run function, because what happens is that's what it's going to do at the interval. It's going to run the run function. So in this case, I need that. Like, say here, he prints time's up, and then he beeps, and then it's system.exits, which stops the thread. And everything else, which is good to know. System.exit 0. Interesting. Okay. So, at the moment, this will run, and this will be available, but it won't be doing anything. So, what I need to do is timer.schedule. Okay, that's why he has this timer. So let's just do this in main. I hate when people do that, though. Let's just do that. Because otherwise, timer. I mean, I know it's a type timer, but it's almost the same name, which is, you know, can be confusing. All right, anyway. So here is my dot schedule that I, use my mouse properly. I'm doing great with that today. So now it's going to be TMP timer. So this should delay it. Let's do 5 seconds. Let's do 3. 5 can be, long. Oh, okay. So now I need to do print stuff. Temp print stuff equals new print stuff, I think. Oh, no. I need to do timer. This needs to be timer task. Not mistaken. See this? Extends timer. I need to do this too. Missing so much stuff here. All right, I need that. New reminder beep. Reminder beep is. This calls a new remind task here. So I'd just be able to put that there. So this should print this out, and then it should declare all this stuff, and then 3 seconds later it should print out task run. Oops. Print stuff. Non-static variable cannot be referenced to static content. So this is a static void main. I think it has to be. But this is not a static class, I'm guessing, because it's not its own file. Maybe. Which I could put it in its own file. What class? Top public timing. New reminder beep. Probably still going to error. Non-static variable, this cannot be referenced from a static content. All right, I'm looking this up. Static, if I can spell it. Variable cannot be referenced from a static context. That's a. Let's understand the difference between a class and an instance of that class. If you see a car on the street, you know immediately that it's a car. Oh, I've been missing stuff. Hello, Zeus Almighty 11. I love Java. Been programming it since 2011. You should always name your classes with uppercase. I mean, it's really, you're not entirely wrong. It's really a preference. It doesn't need its own file. Just make it a private static class. Okay. Yeah, I mean, naming them like this, that can help, actually. It's a decent point, because that way you can help keep track of what's a class and what's a function. If it starts with a lowercase, it's a function, and if it starts with an uppercase, it's a class. So that's a good point. I'll try and do that. You cannot reference non-static within a static context. It doesn't exist in the scope. That's what I figured. I'm really rusty on this. I haven't been programming in Java consistently since 2005 or 6. So I am, to say the least, a little out of it, and that's why I'm doing this. And this is all the intricacies of classes and everything it's still a little lost on me. There's still so many things I need to learn. There you go, compiled. Always a good sign. But yeah, thank you for joining too, and everything. All right, 2, 3, run. Hey, all right. So that was run at 3 seconds. Now, for the actual trick here, which I needed to then repeat, which should only be that. So let me do another 3 seconds, and we'll see what this does. Times 1,000. So this should delay by 3 seconds, and then I'm not sure if it's after every 3 seconds, it then runs it again, or if after every 3 seconds, it hits that 3 seconds, and then it runs again. So we're going to count when I hit run. One, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, it works. Oh, and now it keeps going, which is good to know. Now I can reset the virtual machine. I think that will stop it. Yeah, that looks like that stopped it. No, I know, Zeus. That's the way I copied it, actually. But yeah, I know it's 3,000 milliseconds. That's just the example I had that I was copying stuff out of. Who's using 3 times 1,000. I think they were using a variable. That way they could just set the variable to 3, and it would do it. But yeah, this is in milliseconds. So every 1,000 seconds, or 1,000 of the variable, it's 1 second. Excuse me. Okay, so now, how do I want to use this in the actual program? Do I want to create a new class that would be the thread? Or do I just want to create a little class like this and have it actually in current class? Oops. I really wish I knew why my screen kept going black like that. Huh. Arrows crossed over. I can select it, but I can't do anything with it. Interesting. Okay. Kind of wish I could like some of the readers will have the option to like click a plus or minus sign here, and it just zips it all up. It minimizes it. I'd kind of like that, but at the same time, it's fine having to scroll through it. It's just one of those like, kind of wish it didn't. Okay. So I need a queue, and I need thread. I need to think of the things that thread needs. It's going to need to take the queue, which might be another vector of Twitch viewers, and it needs to. What else will it need to take in? Need to take in some other stuff too. I don't want this to. This is already getting. It's not that big, I guess, but it's mostly these file readers, which I'm going to condense down at some point by converting them into JSON, which should make them instead. I've been looking into that a little bit too, but I'm not ready to do that yet. These are the temporary versions that are horrible. The way they read this in, like this one is reading the settings in, and it goes through each line, and if it has the, but this is all for examples at this point too, and then this one is what actually loads the vector the first time. So I need a messenger class. This will probably be called as part of the constructor. So when you actually create one of these, or actually when you start it, it'll do it. And then every 10 seconds, when it runs, it'll check to see if anybody's in the queue. Then it'll check if there are any other messages that are queued. I'm not really sure how I want to do this. I could create a new class, call it like Twitch message queue. Then I can allow it to take in a bunch of different things. And then it can run based on what's queued. Do that. I could have more than one of these threads running at the same time. But that could run into problems too, like if they try and both send messages at the same time, that might one of them might get clipped. Or I like in the first option, but I think I might do something similar to this other one and do the class not in its own file, but do it like this. Look at that, I did it here too. Ooh, what? Control H isn't find and replace? It's bizarre. Why is that not find and replace? Control R for find and replace? Oof. Helper bot. Helper bot. The match case. Do all. That's good. Just making sure these are all consistent. Because Zeus brought up the good point that these should start with a capital. And that is a good point. You want consistency in it, and when you name everything the same way. Oops. Oh my. Sneezy cat next to me. If you name classes if you start classes with a capital, you always know the difference as to when you're calling a class and when you're calling a function. Just to say it again, help me remember, if nothing else. So in this case, this is a class, and I'm going to try and do that from now on. being paid to program isn't always what it's cracked up to be, because sometimes you're given tasks and you're told to do them in a very specific way, and you're looking at this going, I don't want to do it like that. That's terrible, but you have to. And so it's not always, but at the same time, I do enjoy it. I don't get paid to program in Java, which is why I'm so terrible at it. But I do other computer work all day long. Like I do a lot of web development. So I'm using like web type programs, not Visual Studio.net yet. I'm pushing for that. I get to write queries all day, which is boring. It's really, really boring, but it's what the job is. So you do what you can. You find ways to enjoy it. Actually, I shouldn't say it's boring. It's interesting, but bland. It's a flat thing. Because the thing is, once you get the hang of writing queries, which is like one big logic puzzle, it's really not that bad. Like you can, so people at work know to come to me and say, hey, I need to know everybody that placed an order today, include their location, and include their include all their business information, and then include the main site name. And so you're doing like, you're pulling data from 4 different tables or so. You're getting it all into one location. So it's kind of cool. But at the same time, it does get a little old. But hopefully we're moving to VisualStudio.net. Visual Studio, no. Visual Studio.net. And we're going to start, hopefully, pushing towards ASP.NET, which is we're currently using Cold Fusion Evolve, which is an Adobe product for those of you that haven't heard about it. All right, so this should compile without errors. Doesn't like some of the vector calls, but it's without errors. Really? You're gonna do that? Arrows are going in odd direction. Move these over here because these are like if I need to review them, but I'm probably not going. I could probably remove these two in a file writer and reader test. Timing test I'm going to hang on to for now. Let's be a little OCD about this. Just get them all lined up. Oh, and then of course, hello world. So we have here, these are all of our test beds for different things. Whether it's just printing things out, or threads, file writing, file reading, these two. Okay. Oh, we got a question from Elite Unit. How do you take text out of a form text box with JavaScript on a web page? There's 2 basic ways you can do that. You can use, and I'll be typing these out as I do this. Document, if I can spell, document.getElement by ID, form ID in there, dot value, or if you use jQuery, you can do something that'll look like this, which is form ID. It'll look something like that. Obviously, the jQuery one is much shorter. You have to include the package or the class at the top of the page. But jQuery is free. I use it a lot. It's been really helpful to me to do a lot of different things very quickly. It has built-in drop-down functions, so you can call like slide up, slide down. It's got all sorts of fancy things. You can round corners in it, which does all in divs, actually. I think it uses divs to create like a grid, and then it colors them accordingly to make it look like it's perfect. It's pretty cool. I do like it. And obviously, oops. Let me actually correct that a little bit from what I wrote. It's actually dot value, like that. That's what it actually looks like. Yeah. Yeah, they did that. They overloaded a bunch of the built-in values, which is pretty cool. So I need to keep time. Okay. I believe it's 6:42. Okay, so little distracted, but that's okay. Go away. There it goes. So we need a queue. The reason we need a variable for a queue is we need to be able to set it here. Wait, that's not right. We need to be able to set it here. And then it needs to be called within the actual thread that's running. What if... Put it here. This is one of those hard parts. I kind of wish I had a piece of paper, actually. Do I have one nearby? Funny, I don't have paper anymore. Let's open up Notepad. Let's just start jotting some notes down. Needs to be... Screen again, hang on. I need to be able to store users, because I need names and points. I need to be able to store other messages. Message priorities. Priorities. What else would this need to do? Might be it. I want this one thing to be the engine that really runs all this. I don't want there to be two threads that send messages. That's really what I want to avoid. So my question is, how do I do that in such a way that I can make a queue, I can take anything, and I need to be able to update it too. So, and to go through all of these, this is store. So it needs to the queue needs to be able to store users. Is when I type in !gold, for example, let's say, that'll add me to the list. It'll say, okay, Dagenham wants to know how many points he has, how much gold he has in this case. But then let's say there are other messages, like raffle has started, raffle has ended. Those two should have to go through this same system. So I need to use possibly another vector that can take in messages, which might just be as simple as strings, plus users. Although I guess I could theoretically convert the users to a string by printing out their name and points, so putting that into a string. So maybe I'm overthinking this. Maybe it just needs to be a vector of strings. Username plus points would be 1, and then message. And then the only key here would be higher priority things get bumped to the front of the vector. Because then what this does is every 8 seconds, it'll get the first element, print it out, print out whatever it needs to, and then it'll go, and then the next 8 seconds, it'll get the, I'm getting a little confused. It takes this vector in, this vector of messages, which is just strings, gets the first element, prints out whatever it needs to, removes it, gone. Then, the next time it runs, the next 5, 8, 10 seconds later, it gets the first element, prints it out, deletes it. And then what the system will do is it'll add, so really it'll only be like, ever be 2 or 3 in there at a time, theoretically. Oh, this actually solves another thing that I was thinking of, which I'll get back to. So what the system can then do is when it has a system message, when it needs to say, raffle is opening, you obviously don't want that to be delayed by people requesting how many points they have. That's really important. You need that out as soon as possible. So